Two more ICE shootings intensify the spotlight. Two deadly ICE shootings in just 1 week have reignited a national debate over immigration enforcement. Is this evidence of a dangerous trend or the unavoidable reality of carrying out the law? Before we dive deeper, a quick shout out to all of you, longtime listeners and the new folks who've just joined me. Your support keeps this whole thing moving. If what you hear strikes a chord with you, post a like, leave a comment, and hit subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And if something crosses your radar that the slopstream media is ignoring, as they tend to do, you can always send it my way at drdavesavesamerica.com. I read everything that you send in. ICE cannot seem to dodge the bad news these days. Stepping back just a bit, you had the ridiculous protest in Minneapolis against the ICE enforcement actions. This charged the atmosphere against the necessary law enforcement agency. Remember that immigration is a legal process. People with good credentials can come to this country legally, and that's year-round. So let's start by thinking about who are the millions of people who came here as illegals during the Biden-Harris administration and the several prior administrations. Right. Criminals, those released on purpose from insane asylums, and grifters who see a chance to get stuff for free. And don't get me started on all of these gangsters from Venezuela and Mexico and other places. The Trump administration vowed to clean up the mess left by the prior failed administrations. Removing illegals is a key part of the job. The protests then now appear to be funded by anti-American groups. Real Americans are at work, like me, to take care of their families and pay their bloated tax burden. The slopstream media feeds into this hysteria. This led to 2 deaths in Minneapolis in January of this year. Renee Good and Alex Preddy were both shot in January 2026. Now, as an attorney for decades, I will not remark on the guilt or innocence of the officers accused of these shootings. For all the world, it does look like Renee Good was trying to run over an ICE officer. Alex Preddy apparently had a bone to pick and went into a line of officers while carrying a weapon. Folks, I'm sorry, but that's really a suicide by cop, as it's called. Still, the circumstances of his shooting appear to be more debatable. Then the head of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, was fired just a couple months later. She was replaced by Mark Wayne Mullen, who seems to be much more popular in D.C., at least presently. At the same time, the D.C. poster child for border enforcement is Tom Homan, who, in my opinion, makes a good impression and seems to be a straight shooter. The protest activity seems to have let up, but the whack left politicians continue to call for the elimination of ICE. This is despite the critical law enforcement job they perform. Since Trump took office, it is estimated that 3 million illegals have either been deported or left on their own. This is a win for American society. Some recent events have popped up after a quiet period following the shootings of Good and Preddy. An illegal who is reported to have lived in the U.S. for over 30 years was shot during a traffic stop right here in Houston, Texas. The videos that I have seen show chaos and certainly a lack of cooperation by the suspect during the stop. The ICE operation claimed he tried to move the vehicle rather than simply comply. Again, I leave it to the legal system to sort out whether this was a legal shooting. Subsequently, rumors are that the bags of drugs were in the car. Others claim the bags contained salt. Not sure why anyone would have bags of salt in their van, but, we'll see. Given his lack of cooperation, trying to hide drugs sounds like a strong rationale for him not to cooperate. The Texas Rangers have been asked by the Texas governor to investigate the case on behalf of the state, so we'll see how that goes. Then in Maine, a man in his vehicle was shot by an ICE officer. There's been much less information on this shooting. The reports is that the ICE officer involved in that shooting had previously been in the military and served in the police department, so he surely should have sufficient experience. It remains to be seen how these cases will turn out. Adding to the ICE woes, its agents approached a vehicle with 4 guys in it at a gas station in Florida. All 4 jumped out and ran. One ran onto a highway and was run over and killed by a semi. Not sure why any of them ran. Part of the issue is the hysteria that has been caused by these silly protests supported by the slopstream media. Law-abiding citizens stop when approached by law enforcement. We show them our ID and our auto insurance certificate. Hey, it's no biggie. Why not encourage those who are here legally to leave? Then they can apply to return legally and they won't have to be hysterical. In the meantime, illegals who have stupidly been given commercial driver's license, referred to as CDLs, have continued to wreak havoc on our streets and highways. This creates a continuing need for enforcement of our laws. Recently, a college student driving a Honda Accord was killed when he was hit by a semi-truck. Now, that truck rear-ended him, obviously with enough force to kill the driver. The driver could not speak English. I don't know his immigration status. He did know enough to rip the dash cam out of the truck before the police arrived. The larger question is how he obtained a CDL without being able to speak English. This is not a trivial problem. It is estimated that 30 deaths resulted from 17 crashes involving illegals driving trucks during 2025 alone. This is a horrible statistic. Due to the pervasiveness of this danger, to clean up this problem will take quite a bit of state action. It may require every CDL holder to retest and recertify to keep their licenses. If any of my audience doubt the extent of the problem, I mention that pathetic loser, Dem Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Thank God, not our VP. He actually granted a pardon to an illegal named Sue Vaughn. This was a bare attempt to prevent him from being deported. Fortunately, our wonderful Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, just deported him. He was convicted of sexual assault of a 10-year-old girl over a 2-year period. This scum claimed that this would have been okay in his home country of Laos. And yup, that this little girl solicited him. This piece of filth reportedly offered the little girl $10 to not tell others about her assaults. Reflecting on the broken justice system in Minnesota, Vang did no prison time for this heinous crime. Now, if that doesn't make your blood boil, what does? Just remember that I do this show because usually it's conservatives that have been trying to keep the calm heads compared to the crying and screaming blue-haired liberals. But filth like this needs to be shipped out of America permanently. And an even dumber instance of a visitor to this great country harassing an American. Caitlin Tracy, age 33, had overstayed her tourist visa from Canada by more than a year. She was walking on a boardwalk in New Jersey and saw a teenager with a patriotic message on her clothes. Caitlin slapped her face. The video's been out there for all to see. The good news is ICE has taken her into custody and will deport her. She also stands charged with assault and child abuse.